Our big idea for this week is feminist ethics. To be clear, this is not a political position or a claim that there are different ethical theories for men and for women, or an argument that women and men are morally different kinds of human beings. It says, rather, that there's a culturally understandable difference in the way that women and men typically, not always, tend to think and speak about ethics, and that it has long been neglected by moral philosophy. Our story begins with Carol Gilligan, who started working as a Harvard graduate student in 1967 in the lab of Lawrence Kohlberg. Kohlberg was becoming famous for his theories about the moral development of children. On the basis of extensive interviews with children, he believed he could show empirically that they pass through distinct moral stages. At the highest stages, children begin to think about general outcomes and abstract rules like maximize utility or adopt maxims that you can make universal. They become, in effect, utilitarians or Kantians. Gilligan noted that Kohlberg's experimental subjects were all boys. She found that when girls were included, the results differed dramatically. At the point when the boys started to think in a calculated way about abstract rules, the girls began to analyze the particulars of each situation in a more complex way. A girl might ask a boy, if I followed your rule, then what about a relationship that might be damaged, an opportunity that might be lost, a neighbor whose feelings might be hurt? Why isn't it a better idea to work things out with everyone instead? For Kohlberg, this showed that girls stall out in their moral development. For Gilligan, it showed that girls and boys tend to express themselves in, as she put it, different moral voices. Her famous book is named In a Different Voice. The masculine voice tends to be logical and abstract, while the feminine voice tends to be about particular people and relationships. Neither voice, she says, needs to be subordinate to the other. How did this come about? Because of their biological differences, girls are usually acculturated with motherhood in mind. This entails preparation for a more dependent life that is mostly private, that focuses on the well-being of individuals close by, and that stays alert to their vulnerabilities. Boys are usually acculturated to be out in front, where they will be expected to be more self-sufficient as they negotiate, enter into contracts, govern, and earn a living. So as women focus on caring and on maintaining a strong and interdependent network, men favor abstract and impartial reasoning, stressing rules and agreements. And it's the men who have written almost all of the moral philosophy. So in recent decades, we've gotten a taste of how the history of moral philosophy might have been different if the feminine standpoint had been better represented. Ethics, we are told, starts out with seeing and feeling the way others around us see and feel. It is founded on the value of treating each person as a unique human being whose feelings matter and whose feelings we can also feel, rather than treating each person as an interchangeable member of humankind to whom we must apply universal rules. The funny thing is, none of this has been really surprising. We already knew it because we learned it from our mothers. This orientation in ethics, which we're calling the care factor, has many implications. It means that from the moral point of view, other things being equal, my focus will be more upon caring for your particular and concrete needs than acting on the basis of your generic and abstract rights. Also, showing kindness can mean more than enacting justice. Further, attending to those who are closest to me, that is, favoritism rather than impartiality, can be morally appropriate. And finally, peace of mind has been overrated as a moral value, since caring about others means that we not only share their joys, but we share their suffering. There have been proponents for caring, or love, as the final factor, but most supporters agree that it cannot carry the entire moral load. Without appeal to other factors, we have no way to answer several questions. Is everyone, good and evil alike, equally worthy of my care? When must I stop caring for others to care about myself? How can caring be accomplished in a way that leads not to dependence, but to empowerment? How can I genuinely care for humans that I have never known and never will? And if I can't, then what's my moral relationship to them? We still need to find principles above and beyond care. What these challenges make us aware of is that there remains a place for what Gilligan has called the masculine voice. Mainly, and perhaps not surprisingly, in thinking about how to benefit the broadest circle of all humankind, since we are forced to think abstractly about most of them. But they also remind us of the powerful platform there is for the feminine voice in the circle of our community, where we do have relationships and vivid awareness of concrete needs and consequences. So this is not a recommendation that moral work should be seen as gendered work. It is the recognition that to the extent that the genders have been acculturated in certain ways, the sorely neglected feminine perspective needs especially to be placed front and center for all of us in the circle of our community. Furthermore, even if we must unavoidably think more abstractly about the broader circle of all humankind, its moral power derives less from its rationality and more from the way it extends caring behavior beyond the boundaries of our limited psychological abilities. That is the power of feminist ethics. And that is our big idea for week 7.